Salez. Leave a message.
Babe, can you please answer your phone? It's not what you think. Just please let me explain. Please answer the phone. This can't be it.
Why you calling? Why you running? Why you showing up after all that shit out of each other? No confessions, baby, you just got caught up, acting like you ain't never fucked up. It seems to me you just a distraction. I wish we never happened. I should probably just look for someone new. You just a distraction. I wish we never happened. I should probably just look for someone new. I gave you everything, no games, then you played with my heart and my brain, cause you gotta have it your way. We've been through it like a million times, two different people like a Gemini. Even when I'm looking in your eyes, I know we're done. I can't get back what you know. After all that savage shit you do know, you would always reach a new low. I'ma pull off on my two-door. To the left, to the left. Whatever, baby, you can save your breath. You always playing games, no rest. And now I got nothing left. Just a distraction. I wish we never happened. I should probably just look for someone new. You just a distraction. I wish we never happened. I should probably just look for someone new. Why you calling? Talking all that shit after what you did. And why you fronting? Acting like you never really fought with him. I don't know why you think that a phone call will just fix that. Oh, I'm no longer yours. I wish we never happened. I just wanted to I wish we never happened. I should probably just look for someone new.
Okay, you good?
Yeah, just a distraction.
Yeah?
Thank you.
Alright, let's roll it. Here we go. Distraction music video, scene 3B, take 5.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Diamond Rivera of the Live Discussions with Diamond Podcast, and you just saw the latest single from our guest tonight, titled Distraction. Before we get started, this episode is sponsored by Untitled Chapter Radio, where you can listen to this interview high quality live. And also tonight, people, want to let you know that you can listen to this interview on Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, and other streaming platforms. And tonight, people, we have an amazing guest, a person I met around 2 years ago, actually, Dallas Bachata Festival, and really looking into his story. And this gentleman here, this artist, this entrepreneur, man, he has light years ahead of him. And I can't wait to have him on. The one and only, Jay Salez.
Yo.
What is up, my brother?
You're getting really good at this podcast stuff. Just want to put that out there.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. Very well spoken. I love it.
I really appreciate it. I mean, again, as we've talked as well, me having this platform, it allows me to bring guests like you on. That for me, I love sharing your stories because I mean, they just see us on film and they see us in a quick minute video, and I think they always think they know what we are or who we are. But I think
Yeah.
here at this platform, we have a chance really to share your story, but from your perspective.
I love that.
And for me as well, as I said before, meeting you about 2019 at Dallas Bachata Festival, from your teaching, from just your work ethic, I mean, just honestly from your presence, it's really humbling, especially you coming all the way from the West Coast. And I know how the West
Hey.
Coast gives it up big over there, especially in California. I mean, the
Absolutely.
artists are galore. And really, it's not easy sometimes having your own individuality. So you being an artist, I feel like separates yourself from the rest. I'm really, again, happy to have you on.
Thank you. That's crazy. 2 years ago, when you said that, I was like, man, time just flies, yo. It flies. It's crazy.
I mean, but before I get started with things, like every guest that I have, I love asking this question. So for you, Jay, can you just tell us, how have you been this past year?
I've been amazing. I definitely can't complain. Obviously with everything that happened, with this pandemic and everything else, it's definitely been hard, but I've grown so much in these last couple of months, with everything. I started really diving into reading, and, I started like 6 companies, in this pandemic, and, started, failed, started, failed. And, but all of that has led me to where I'm at right now. And where I'm at right now is as perfect as I could see it. I'm doing a lot of things that fulfill me. And, I realized that, in the past, I used to consider my success based off what I've, done in life.
Yeah.
And now I consider success based off, if you tear everything off of me and who I am as a person, if I'm happy with that person, that is successful. So it's just, I've been just in this like energy that I'm loving. So I've been really good. I'm really excited to, life and to see, where God takes me and things like that. So yeah, man, I've been good. I've been really good.
That's good. I mean, good to hear, because again, especially over this past year, I've talked to many artists, and understanding it really showed the vulnerability of a lot of us, and understanding that, something we love can be here one day and taken the next day. At one point, not knowing
Absolutely.
when events or that the steady income from teaching really would come about. But realizing too, what I love is your transition from the dance world into the music industry. And I felt like it was really seamless. It was a genuine move, and it fit really well. And we're really going to get into that. But as I always start with every one of my guests, my first question, of course, is help us understand who Jay Gonzalez is before dance and music.
Yeah. So, I grew up in Corona, California, in the Inland Empire. I grew up with 2 Mexican singers. My mom and my dad both sang mariachi, regional mariachi music. I grew up singing, 5 years old in a rodeo, barely being able to speak. And yeah, man, I grew up, my brother raps. So we had a studio in the back of the house, and, school was never really my thing. I did the minimum, I did enough to get that passing grade.
Yeah.
But, I would, once I realized, I was like, if I do good enough, I could get out earlier, I could come in later. So I did that. And, I would always spend my time with my brother. My brother is, my dad left, when I was 7. So my brother kind of took over the house as a man at like 13, 14 years old. And, he started slinging chihuahuas, at that time, chihuahuas was a big thing, Paris Hilton, the whole 9. And, so I grew up watching him do that. And, I remember him, making me, sell dogs too at when he started. And I would put on the polos and put Animal Channel on the TV. And, I remember one day I think I was an 8th grader, and I closed 2 dogs for like $13.50. And mind you, as 8th grader, you give $13.50 to an 8th grader. And where I grew up at, it was like, I would carry the money in my pocket and show it to my friends and be like, I'm going to get so much pro clubs out of this. And, And yeah, man. And I grew up very very lost, in the beginning. I was always trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And every time I wanted to get in, I'm the little brother. So I have, 2 sisters, and I have another older brother, Brian. And he's 6 years apart. And then my other sisters are, far more apart than I. And, when I would want to get into music, it was like, oh, you want to get into music because your brother wants to get into music. And I'm like, okay, well, I remember in 8th grade, I started dancing. And my first dance was, I used to crip walk, and I always liked, I always liked art and music. Like I remember, being, 6th grade after school program, and I would, be home, no one would be home. My mom would be out, and my brother would be out. And I would just put on like, Usher Confession album, and I'll just go around, singing, these are my, not even knowing what he's really saying. Yeah. And yeah, man. So, my whole life, it's crazy. I also grew up, obviously I grew up without, my brother being my dad. So I kind of, would get into things, and I never really had someone to like be like, yo, like, keep at it and keep going, so yeah, it was one of those things where I was just, I wasn't, an A-list student. I busted my knee 8th grade. So I couldn't do sports in high school. So the whole dream of, putting on a varsity jacket and playing, football and soccer, and, cause I love sports. I love being athletic. All that went out the drain. And, growing up, the way I grew up, we didn't have insurance. So I tore my ACL, and it was like, yo, you just got a torn ACL. You know what I mean? So yeah, man. And after high school, I was like, yo, you know what? I'm going to reinvent myself.
Yeah.
I was like, I remember when I graduated, I was like, I'm never stepping back on this campus ever again. There's nothing for me here. And I moved out 18 years old while, my brother and my mom were kind of like dealing with the house situation. Yeah. I was a young kid. So I was, trying to get out of all that, so I left. I moved in, with my sister in her living room, paying her $200 a month, going to college, taking the bus, serving, collecting $1,500 cash to buy my first little Civic. It was stick shift, mind you. So I never drove stick shift. And the first day I got it, I was on YouTube trying to learn how to drive stick because I had to go to work, in an hour. And I remember, I finally got it. I was like, okay, cool. As long as I get past the first gear, I'm good. Right. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I get on the freeway. If you guys are from Cali, I get on the 405 freeway, and there's so much traffic. And I'm like, oh my God. So I was stalling in the freeway like every second. But after that, I knew how to drive stick, Yeah. And yeah, man, I was serving. And then at that time when I was serving, I was pursuing acting. So I was driving to Los Angeles. I was doing that whole life, basically serving and acting, trying to get, again, entertainment has always called me. And, that was hard because I really didn't have much support in the sense of like, financial support. And I was like, yo, I gotta start making money, and coming from, a childhood where I saw an entrepreneur right in front of my face. My brother did dogs, but then got into real estate. I kind of, I took some of his knowledge, right? And I got into the fitness space. And, I was like, yo, if I'm going to get into this, I got to go full out. Like, that's one thing about me is I always go full out. Like if I get into something. So, I got in it, competed 2015. I started training, personal training. And basically while I was personal training, I started this company called Alpha Aesthetics. I went to Los Angeles. I moved back to Orange County. I moved into my brother's apartment, stayed in his couch. Like for some reason, loved to stay on the couch. And I started training, people at his gym in his apartment. Started with 1 client, then went to 5, got a little gym that I rented out, went from 5 clients to 20 clients. And then I went from having 20 clients to 200 clients. And, I was good. I was, training clients. And around that time, I turned 21. Bachata has always been a genre that I loved. Like growing up with Aventura was, everything. Like I love bachata. I've always been a romantic my whole life, not growing up with, not having, that image of love in front of me, because my parents obviously were separated.
Yeah.
I used to watch, all these love movies and The Notebook, and that was love for me, right? So huge romantic. And I went to Steven's Steakhouse one night because a friend invited me. Steven's Steakhouse is like legendary in Commerce, California. And I entered and I was like, yo, what is this? Everybody's just dancing. And it was cool because at that time, mind you, I was gonna compete again. So I couldn't really drink alcohol, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, yo, this is dope. I still gotta go out, and have fun without really consuming alcohol, right? That's kind of like what really gauged me in. And, luckily the first people that I met within the scene was they were really kind, showing me moves, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, and yeah, man. And right there is basically where dance was introduced to me. And I met Mike Zuniga, which was my first instructor. He hit me up. He actually hit me. It's funny because I don't remember her name, but she basically was like, yo, hit up this guy named Mike. You're in Orange County. He's a phenomenal dancer, phenomenal teacher, and he'll help you out. I was like, perfect. So I requested him on Facebook. He added me. The next day he hit me up and he was like, hell, I see you're a personal trainer. I'm actually looking to get personal trained. How much do you charge? And I'm like, yo, it's so funny. I'm looking for a bachata instructor. So I was like, how about we swap privates? I'll train you, you train me. And he's like, let's do it. I started training, mind you, I turned 21 in December. Okay. Yeah. December 4th. He started training me, and Reno was coming up in January. The Reno Dance Festival. It's like the first weekend of January. And he's like, yo, why don't you come to Reno? And I was like, what's that? He's like, it's a festival. And I'm like, what's that? Mind you, I have no idea how this shit works. I grew up in the IE, bro. No one dances bachata there. No one, And so he was like, it's a festival, the whole nine. Workshops, performances, social dancing until 6 a.m. and this and that. And I was like, yo, he's like, you can stay with me. He's like, I'll get you a pass. Don't worry about it. Just get there. I was like, bet. So I get there, and that really changed, my life, because I was like, I remember, if for anybody that's been to Reno has an amazing, amazing stage. And I remember walking in and just being like, yo, people do this for a living. Like, this is crazy. And the whole social, just everything about it, everything about it was just beautiful. Right. So I was like, I want to be on that stage one day. Yeah. And again, I've always been that man that if I set my mind to something, like, I'm going to go full out, and that's kind of, how it all started, with dance.
Man, and just seeing how everything transpired from you going to a social at the legendary Steven's Steakhouse and actually having a very good experience, because I've talked to many guests that was the crossroads. That was between, I wasn't, I'm fresh in this and I feel embarrassed. I don't know if I want to keep doing this, but actually you having the experience of people looking out for you, finding you, and actually helping you and guiding you rather than.
For sure. I think it's also, my mentality has always been, if I suck at something, it just means I just haven't practiced enough. You know what I mean? So in the beginning of my dance journey, mind you, I started dancing, like, legit understanding the fundamentals of bachata. I went on YouTube before and Ataca La Mano were the first people I saw on YouTube. And, I try to copy them but not really understanding. I was like, yo, these people move their feet way too fast. I don't know what they're doing. And but I started at 21 and I debuted, at 23 years old, in Canada. So, from 21 to 23, I social danced every single night. I stopped competing in fitness because I was, at that time I was about 200 pounds, and they'll be like, yo, move your shoulders. And I'm like, I don't understand what you mean, isolated. I'm like, what's isolation? So yeah, man, it was, I obviously I was still doing fitness, and, around that same time was when I opened up my private training facility. And, but I completely stopped. Like, I changed my training routine to be more of a dancer, and I went social dancing every single night. I took privates as much as I possibly could. When I would go to festivals, I would take privates. Like, I was just like, gimme. And, I was dating Grace at that time, and she basically was like, "Yo, I need to go to Canada," because I was also when I left Mike Zuniga, I went to MG Dance, and like their training was crazy. So they were a huge pillar to my advancement, because they're all about training. And so around that time, she was like, "Yo, I need a partner for Canada. Like, are you down? We'll put a bachata routine together, and if you want to do it, let's do it." And I was like, I was like, "Yeah, let's go. Let's do this," And we put a routine together, and it's funny because we actually put a routine together, and a week right before Canada, we got a big car crash, and I remember we just finished our routine. We finished our last trick for the performance. On our way home, we sent our choreography to Ataca y La Mana for they could look at it, and because they're like family. So as she's sending it to them, it's raining really hard. My car spun out of control. I hit both pillars in the freeway, and my car was totaled. And we were in bed rest for 3 days. And she was like, I was like, "Yo, let's do it." You know what I mean? We have it confirmed. We got some Vicodin, and we went to Canada. We popped it. We performed it. It went well, and and then history from there on. So yeah, man, it's crazy. It's been definitely a fun ride when it comes to this scene. So, but yeah, man, that's basically the transition.
I mean, it definitely makes perfect sense. And as well, for me, realizing, as you're talking about MG Dance, and a big shout out to Liliana and Saya Beltran and that family. Yeah. I mean, trust me, MG in my eyes, especially from Cali, because when you're talking about California, and I tell a lot of people this, the amount of companies is almost similar to New York. I mean, you really have to stick out. Yeah. And I love also that a lot of people, especially from the LA County, tell me there is that competitive edge. There is that same competitive edge in acting, just like you're saying, you going through that.
Every industry. Yeah, every industry. It's every industry. Every industry, there's going to be competition. Every industry, you're going to find the same problems you find in different industries. Absolutely. It's when I stepped in, I was like, "Yo, this many people dance." It was like, it's a community within a community. It's crazy. Yeah.
It's true. Crazy. But I also think it's an experience because, like you said, going from just a regular social at Steven's Steakhouse, then going to an event like Reno, that's a game changer for a person who's never been. I haven't been, but I've seen videos of the inside and everything that goes around. Yeah, and I've been to congresses. Hey, these events for a first timer are life-changing, especially because now, like you said, a person like yourself motivates yourself to do better. You want to, you take on the unknown in that aspect. So now my question to you is, when, like you said, you did the routine with Grace, my question to you is now, what was that moment like of now becoming a teacher? Because that's also a different responsibility. First, you can do a routine, but now becoming a teacher and teaching people, going from just being the novice dancer to now actually being an instructor.
Absolutely. It's funny because in the beginning, not many people know this, but in the beginning, the way that I got in to the fitness industry was actually, I was offering, fitness boot camps to like festivals. I was like, "Yo, I could go and I could, teach these, blah, blah, blah." And after I performed in Canada, that's when I really, started, I guess, teaching, right? Because that was like the first time I had an actual bachata workshop and things like that. I've been a teacher not my whole life, but because of personal training, I understand teaching, right? And that was it wasn't that hard of a transition because I'm a fairly new beginner, right? When I started, it was kind of like, okay, well, I have these years on me. I have 3 years on me, training. So I understood what beginners really needed because I was like, okay, what did I need in the beginning? You know what I'm saying? So it was kind of, that's what really helped me transition into teaching, bachata. And I love, honestly, that's one of the things that, man, being in the middle of a big old circle of people just enjoying themselves, everybody there for one reason, that reason being dance. It's such an amazing feeling. And, and I've never had a bad teaching experience, gracias a Dios. And, and then also, mind you, my biggest, teachers were, Mike Zuniga, MG, Ataka, so I had amazing teachers in front of me, and the way and I would also take pride. Like even when I started teaching, I would also take privates on how do you teach? Like I remember when Ataka came to visit me, I was like, yo, I just want you to take me from zero and let's go as far as we possibly can. He broke down the basic with me. And seeing how he would teach me, and I recorded it and I would watch it, and I'm like, okay, how is he teaching me? What language is he using towards me? I studied all that, so that really helped me, understand how to teach and be a good teacher. Cause, at the end of the day, I also, you got to see it as a business. So I'm like, okay, so for you to hire me to your festival, what do you need? You need social proof, right? So you need me to have a following. You need me to have a good show. You need me to be a good teacher, and you need me to fucking social dance the shit out of your fucking festival. You know what I'm saying? So, those are the components that I understood. So I would try to kind of check the boxes, and be like, okay, I need to study here, study here, study here. And again, like I said, when I was so dedicated, for those years, I even left, the gym that I opened, because I was traveling so much that, it wasn't like every single weekend, but, traveling 2 weekends out of the month, it starts getting to you, so I'm like, yo, I need to, if I really want to do this, I got to do it. And man, so that was kind of, the transition going into that.
Yeah, I mean, and here we have a comment from the one and only one of the owners of Creators Lab, Eduardo
Sanchez Flores. That's my man right there, my right-hand man.
Saying you are such a talented man right here. Saludos a las Dios.
Right back at you, bro.
Yeah, man. And we'll definitely get into that real quick. But now that it helps me understand, because I remember definitely years back, especially on YouTube, when TSR, Tyson's, was really, really popping back in DC. And my first actual visuals of you was when you were doing your social dances with Wandaisha. So Wandaisha, So for me, it's like seeing how Ataka La Mana and that Island Touch Collective brought you in, and seeing how they've acclimated you into that, family, and it works. I mean, what is that experience like of going from the people that you first typed in to learn from, and now really working with them in that aspect?
Yeah, they are my family, man. Those people, one, they're amazing human beings. That's first off, right? They are so successful within the industry, and who they are as individuals, in public and behind closed doors, same, right? So that's one. So seeing that, definitely, helps me, because, I've always been really big about who I surround myself with. Rudy hit me up, I believe it was like February of 2019. And he was like, yo, like, around that time is when Grace and I split. And he's like, hey, look, he's like, I've been watching you, and real quick backstory. When I went to Reno the second time, I actually asked Rudy to sit down with me. I was like, yo, I know you're extremely busy, but I was just wondering if you have, 15 minutes of your time to sit down with me. I just want to ask you, some questions about, this Latin dancing. I'm fairly new to it. Right. And, obviously I knew the success of Island Touch, like who doesn't, if you're in the scene. So I sat down with Rudy and I was like, hey, like, what do I need to do to be considered an A-list artist? And he basically was real simple with it. He's like, yo, you got two paths in the scene. You could either have a big old team or you could be a superstar. He's like, you can't do both. He's like, so decide which one you want to go and go full out. And so, going into, years later, him hitting me up and being like, yo, I want to bring you on to Island Touch. And, these are the things that you're going to receive from us, and blah, 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 blah. For me at that time was a no-brainer, because I wanted to understand if this is something that I really wanted to do in my life. And, what better way of doing it than with the biggest bachata dance company in the world, and that experience was amazing. Being able to continue my training with Ataka, understanding the mindset, that Rudy has was phenomenal. Right. So, Yeah, huge. You know, till this day, I hit up Rudy, and and we, bullshit on the phone, and I tell him the things I'm doing with music and dance. He's telling me, and definitely one of my big brothers and big sister with Tanya. So yeah, man, it is an amazing experience to definitely be connected with them the way that I'm connected with them.
Absolutely. I mean, and also to me, following your journey, not just from the Island Touch side, but also seeing that, for you, besides being a dancer, you're an artist, and that also deals with music, but also
Absolutely.
realizing the gentleman that just had the comment earlier, Eduardo from Creators Lab, realizing that dynamic of you two artists working together and really being that example of two peers on the same wavelength. And for me, seeing him as a videographer, working with an artist like yourself, and like you also said, fusing in that Latin vibe and that feel, and it also pertains to the dance world you're a part of. I think that was a perfect combination. And for me, before I play this video, seeing you in 2019 in Dallas, and just seeing how, again, your work ethic, how you carry yourself, I definitely see that Island Touch influence. So I definitely appreciate them. But also seeing with you as an artist, because again, it's very different coming from just being a regular social dancer to being an instructor to being a headliner to, now your presence and everything you do is magnified. And realizing, like you said yourself, you've always been into acting at the same time. And before we get into this video, kind of give me an understanding of how your first single, Señorita, came about.
So I released a song under Gonzalez in 2019? I believe it was 2019, called Fiel. Yeah. And DJ Soultrix remixed it, Fiel Bachata remix. When I released that single, so mind you, just a little backstory. There was a point in my life where I was like, yo, I went back to my gym. So I was like, yo, I got this gym, I'm doing good, financially, I'm not doing amazing, but I'm doing good. I was like, I'm traveling, if I keep going with dance, I'll go as far as I possibly take it in the dance community. And I was like, I'm just not fulfilled. And it was the same feeling I had when I opened up my gym, and standing in the middle of it. And I'm like, I was like, God, aren't I supposed to feel something by now, And yeah, so I was like, yo, what is it? And I realized it was music, and mind you, bro, I grew up with my mom. I grew up with my mom taking me to her shows and me being in the backstage and falling asleep on the speakers, because it was 12 p.m., 1 a.m. at night, you know what I mean? And my whole life, I was telling my girl, 2 days ago, I said, my whole life I've been running away from who I am to try to find who I am. Yeah. And this year I realized that everything that I asked God for when I was younger, I was like, God, I want to be able to sing. I want to be able to rap. I want to be able to dance. Yeah. I was a chubby kid when I was younger. I was like, I want to be fit. And I look back now and I'm like, yo, God answered everything that I called out. You know what I'm saying? And it's all in me. I've been the one, running away from it. I've been the one making myself small. Yeah. And, because of dance, I was able to understand that entertainment was where I needed to be. Right. And I was driving one day home, and mind you, when I stepped into the dance community, I really fell in love with reggaeton, because reggaeton for me in the Latin world is like hip hop for us in the IE. You know what I'm saying? So when I was driving home and I was like singing and I was like, yo, I need to do music. I need to do music. It's something just was like, bro, what are you doing? Like, just do music. You know what I'm saying? And I ended up going to Miami. I recorded Fiel, and I released it. A couple weeks later, I had a guy from a label hit me up, went in there, sang for them, did a song with them. They wanted to sign me. I agreed to it. Year later, ended up leaving the label, And because I was like, you know what, like if I'm gonna do this music thing, I have to do it on my terms. You
Yeah.
know, I gotta do it. I've always been, you know, I think it's coming from a entrepreneur background.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I want to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 12, 6, whatever, I have to be number one.
Yeah.
And it's not because I want to be number one. It's because the way that I move.
Yeah.
I move like a number one. You know what I'm saying? So I left the label. I was like, yo, I'm going fully independent. And I was like, and I'm releasing on my birthday. And, you know, around that same time I not met Eddie. I already knew who Eddie was.
Mm-hmm.
I connected with Eddie. I had a job and I hit him up last minute. Crazy. Hit him up last minute. Was like, yo, bro, are you available tomorrow to go to Vegas? And he was like, yeah. I was like, cool. You know, it's gonna be paid for. Don't worry about it. You can stay with me. Da, 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 da.
Mm-hmm.
And through that trip to Vegas, we connected. And when I left the label, he was like, bro, I'm on your team.
Yeah.
Like I got you, you know? And I was like, okay, cool. So I got on YouTube, searched the beats. I created a song, created Señorita.
Yeah.
And I laid it down in my boy's bedroom. My boy Lance, he's one of my good friends. He's an artist as well. Went to his house, laid it down in his bedroom, released it. And, you know, that was kind of like, that's when my life really started pivoting, because I was like, yo, I'm going back to like, I got this shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to do what I want to do. And I'm sick and tired of making myself small. I'm sick and tired of waiting for people. I'm going to do what I got to do. And I released it. I had this visual idea. I was like, yo, I want to do this. I'm going to, you know, fly out Taka. I'm going to have Mike in it. I'm going to do blah, blah, blah. I'm going to choreograph. I'm going to have my girl choreograph the salsa, you know. And when we had the music video, I was like, yo, I find it's the feeling that I asked God, yo, where is this feeling? I received it. And I was like, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I felt unstoppable. I felt unstoppable. And we recorded the video, we launched it, and we're here now. You know what I'm saying? So that's how Señorita, you know, came to be. It was kind of like one of those things where I was like, yo, I'm gonna drop this. And this is, you know, I remember I posted a photo, you know, of a Spotify thing, and it said 00000. And I said, it's time. And everything, bro. And I used to say this quote all the time. I'm patient because I know I'm sick. I knew that when I find what I'm meant to do, I'm going to demolish it. Because that is just, bro, coming from where I come from, that is the attitude that you need to have in order to get out from where I come from. You know what I'm saying? So now that I know, I'm like, I know exactly what I'm put on earth for. Oh man, there's nothing, you know, that's gonna stand in my way. That's just the energy that I'm on right now. So that's how Señorita came to be. And you know, I was like, I definitely got it. I hit up Marvin Ward and I was like, yo, can you do a dope ass guitar to Señorita? Let me know how much, and I got you. He was like, bro, don't even trip. I got it. Hit it, send it to me. I was like, fire. Put that on to the extended version of Señorita, choreographed it, and bro, and the feeling of having Mike and Ataka learn my choreography. I was like, yo. Like it's I was like, yo, I just keep going. That's what have faith, keep going. Have faith, keep going. I just kept repeating myself. Like I remember I would look up and I would see them, you know, through the mirror, and I'm like, yo, I got Ataka asking me what the fuck this step is. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just crazy. When I was fucking, you know, he was the first person I saw, you know what I'm saying? Dance bachata. It's crazy how life works, man. It's life is so beautiful because it pivots, man. And it's, you know, sometimes you don't know where it's going to pivot, but you got to pivot with it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, man, that's how Señorita came to be.
It's true. I mean, just adapting to the situation, but something again I love about this video, and like you said, it featured as the main lady, your partner, Emily Alabi. Big shout out to her. For many people who don't know, shout out. Yes, she's been on America's Got Talent. She's been on MTV. She's the choreographer for the Selena Netflix series. So definitely a big shout out to her, but also seeing people like Vince Torres And like you said, using artists
Absolutely.
like Noir who are in the video. And I love again that you involve the dance community within
Absolutely. Absolutely. But I mean, I had, bro, maybe 80% of those people I met in the dance community. You know what I'm saying? And I told them all at that moment, I said, yo, I might not be a platinum recording artist right now, but just know I always got all y'all. You know what I mean? For doing this for me. It was basic. I hit him up and I was like, yo, can you do me a solid? I'm there. You know, so yeah, the scene, I have so much love for the scene that, you know, my whole life I'm going to spend trying to give back to it for sure.
And that's exactly why I love having you on. So now, can you honestly do us the honors of introducing this last visual by yourself?
Absolutely. You're about to watch my first single, my first reggaeton single, Señorita, written, directed by Eddie Sanchez Flores. He did the whole editing, everything, got dancers, Ataka, Mike Zuniga, and of course, my beautiful, beautiful lady, Emily Alabi.
All right, people, check it out.
Tu locura, eso me da calentura. Tu cultura, lo balas con tu cintura. Como te mueves, mueves, baby. Quiero probarte cada noche, noche. Baby, tu cuerpo para mi escena. Señorita, baila, baila, baila. Y luego en mi cama, baila, baila, baila. Y tú encima de mí. Qué rico cuando tú baila, baila, baila. En la forma que tú bailas, nadie te olvida. Mami, ven conmigo, te enseño que te falta. Tienes opciones conmigo, París, Cancún, Río. Yo soy lo que tú necesitas en cada parte de tu vida. Eres todo lo que quiero y yo te quiero hasta la madrugada. Señorita, baila, baila, baila. Y luego en mi cama, baila, baila, baila. Y tú encima de mí. Qué rico cuando tú baila, baila, bailas. You don't gotta tell me, babe, I see you feeling me. Throw it back, throw it back, throw it just listen, the way you move is addicting. Throw it back, throw it back, throw it.
Yo, Jay, 130 seconds, let's go. Don't leave. Okay, I'm so sorry. Don't leave. Don't leave.
Don't go nowhere, don't go nowhere. All this just in. A special live performance right now by the man himself, Mr. Jay Salez. Let's go.
Señorita, baila, baila, baila. Y luego en mi cama, baila, baila, baila. Y tú encima de mí. Qué rico cuando tú baila, baila, bailas. Jay Salez.
Good show, boys. Good show. Good job. Congrats, brother. Thank you. Where you going? I'm gonna go see a girl that he, drove me. She left, but I saw her leave already, man. She left? Yeah, but she left. You sure? Positive. The girl? Yeah, man. Damn. Yeah. Okay. Well, just, get a drink on me. All right.
Hey, boys.
See you
Hey,
later.
Jay.
Yeah.
We left you know.
Cool. Thank you.
Luego en mi cama, baila, baila, baila. Y tú encima de mí. Qué rico cuando tú baila, baila, bailas.
Man, amazing video. My one question is, how many takes did it take to get that shirt when you grabbed from George? Was it in one take, or did it take a few times?
Nah, it took a few times.
Oh man, and the last scene when I see, the bodyguard give the number clutch to the bodyguard, because it's nowadays it's hard. Sometimes that girl leaves, but
Absolutely.
man, I love that video from start to finish.
you.
The cinematography,
Thank you.
the lighting. Big shouts out to Kyle Makami as well, and as well seeing Jessica Trujillo in that visual.
Yes.
And yeah, man, honestly, I love that, again, from start to finish of our episode, especially tonight, understanding not just the performing aspect, but understanding you as a person has been so gratifying, because like I've told you before, is that, for so long, our dance world, we have our parties, we have our events, but a lot of the meaningful conversations that have nothing to do with dance, most of the times are in the hotel rooms with us, just with our friends, and a lot of the people that support us, that come to see our shows and performances, they always say, hey, I want to know a little bit more about you. And, for me, I definitely think tonight as well, we've been able to really get an understanding of who Jay is. But before we get to our closing segment, called The Randoms, where we'll get to know you a little bit better, is, with everything going on now, especially us, coming back to a slow pace of normalcy. My question to you is, as an artist now, especially as a musician, what do you see, or what is your future plans, at least for 2021?
As an artist, I definitely want to continue just releasing good music, good visuals, staying true with who I am.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing for me as an artist. I learned a lot, being a dancer in the scene, about myself. And one thing that I promised myself that I was going to do when I stepped into the music was not hide any of my colors. I feel like a lot of artists feel, that we need to show red, because red is what I believe people want to see, right? And for me, it's like, I'm not just red. I'm red, blue, green, orange, yellow, pink. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's like with music, my first single was reggaeton. My last single I just released is an R&B track. I'm working on a hip hop track right now. I'm doing bachata. I'm doing another reggaeton this summer. For me, it's I'm doing this because I enjoy it. You know what I mean? So I have, these next couple of months, I rolled out basically all my releases. I got a new single called Late Nights coming in June. We're going to have a dope visual for that. Eddie does all my visuals from now till forever. And so he leaves me. But yeah, so we have Late Nights coming out this summer. I'm dropping a reggaeton single. I'm doing, a special remix to that single. I'm releasing an original bachata. Doing another, R&B, going to be coming out with the freestyle. Yeah, I'm just coming out with just, hopefully working with Grupo Extra this summer as well. Yeah, man, just, trying to just keep growing as an artist, you know what I'm saying? Keep training, and just keep trying to, pierce the industry. You know what I mean? My goal is, one of the biggest icons in the world, Selena, I look up to her so much because, she's somebody that won over, the Latin community, obviously because of her records, but because of who she was as a person. You know what I mean? And for me, she paved the way to showing that an artist can be, diverse. As you know, she was supposed to release a full English album, that was gonna go platinum. You know what I mean? So my thing is, I definitely want to get into the music industry doing what I'm doing, which is, I am a bilingual Mexican American that lives in Los Angeles. You know what I'm saying? And I want my music to represent that. So yeah, man, that's basically my plans for my music in 2021.
Absolutely. And the live discussions with Diamond Podcast fully supports you, and definitely can't wait to see what you have coming up in the future, and definitely can't wait to see the visuals to come up. And now it helps us. And now it helps us transition to my closing segment called the randoms, which is about a few questions. Yes. So I see you're ready. So just let me know when you are ready for this first question.
Let's do it.
All right.
Let's do it.
First question: if you can have one meal, what would it be?
Oof. Right now, I'm craving Cuban food. I love Cuban food. I fucking Cuban food's my shit.
So
yeah,
Cuban food, but what meal?
What meal? Damn, that's a hard question. Ropa vieja.
Okay.
Because I never have. You know, I usually always have chicken. You know what I'm saying? I usually always have chicken. This restaurant. That's because I'm thinking of this restaurant that I took my girl. You know, a month ago. But yeah, with plátanos. He wants portals. I always go to portals. I'm telling you, bro, I love Cuban food. Plátanos. Yeah, all that, bro. Ropa vieja. It's like I get this like chicken platter all that, bro. Empanadas. I know, my meals, bro. I could eat, bro. So my meals, when you say meal, I'm thinking appetizer, empanada. I had empanadas, these cheese balls, amazing. And then I had my course would be ropa vieja because I never have it. With my rice, the rice that comes with the beans, that Spanish rice. With my plantains, and then for dessert, tres leches cake, bro.
Wow. I mean, is there room for a drink?
and drink throughout.
I like it. All right. Next question is, if you can have your own store, what would it be called?
My own store? I'll call it it's funny because me and my girl are coming out with a little something. I'll call it I Am. Call it I Am.
All right. Like it. All right. Next question is, if you can have a road trip to one place, where is it?
A road trip to one place. I want to visit Bali. That's one place. I want to visit Bali and kind of get away from all this for a little bit. Bali. Bali would be my destination.
I definitely think a trip to Bali is well needed. Next question is, if you could choose a different name, what would it be?
I already have too many names. Honestly, my real name is Juan Ricardo Chavez, by the way. So mind you, I'm Juan Ricardo Chavez, J Gonzalez, and then, J Salez. So I don't really have a different name. I already have too many. I don't want to think about it.
I definitely understand that. All right, next question. This should definitely hit home. What's it like in the IE?
In the IE,
like for a person who, a New Yorker.
It's small. It's small. It's definitely, everybody knows everybody. You know what I mean? Everybody knows everybody. It's suburb, man, it's very community. You know what I mean? I grew up, people, when they talk about their childhood, they go, yo, remember we used to go to this place. And my whole childhood was, visiting friends' house and hanging out with each other and just because there was nothing to do but hang out, in the IE, because there's nothing out there. So the IE is just community. That's if I could name it one thing, it's community.
Okay. I love that answer. This one should be very interesting. It's a true or false question. And it is, the Giants are better than the Dodgers. True or false?
False.
And why?
False. Because we won last year, baby. That's it. That's the only answer you need.
I mean, Giants. Let's just get a reincarnation of Tim Lincecum and let's see where that can go. I mean, but I can't lie. Dodgers did their thing last year.
They did, and they're doing the thing this year too. So,
it could be a repeat.
It could be a repeat. We could go dry, and we're gonna go wet the whole next couple of years.
Gotcha.
Hopefully.
All right.
We just signed someone huge today, by the way. I can't remember. Yes. I don't know who, but we signed somebody big today.
All right. Nice. All right. Next question is, If Jay is not dancing or singing, what is a favorite hobby of yours?
If I'm not, I love watching movies. I love me and my girl. That is like our shit. You know, we get like every Friday night we actually have, if that's a hobby, because I don't, to be honest, I'm either working, doing music or dancing. But yeah, I think is watching movies a fucking hobby? I don't know. It should be. So I'm gonna say it is. That's our hobby. Is Friday night we have our pizza, we have our dessert, we get muffins from Portals, we have ice cream, we warm it up, put the ice cream on top so it melts in the nice muffin. Yeah, that's my hobby, is eating pizza and watching movies with my girlfriend.
All right, so if we're gonna go there, what movie?
We love good, man. I have HBO Max, Hulu, Netflix, Prime Video. I got it all. It's funny because I tell people, I'm like, yo, you leave, paying cable. They're like, oh, cable's so expensive, but you got like 10 subscriptions. You know what I mean?
It kind of adds all up.
It adds all up. So yeah, I love movies. Action. I'm a huge action fan. Drama. My girl doesn't really like sci-fi, but I love sci-fi.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm good movie. I watch it.
All right.
Just like
if
music,
we're gonna go in
music, I would listen.
In the sci-fi route, in a sense, I would say then this question probably is a little bit related. If you had a superpower, what would it be?
If I had a superpower, sure, man, superheroes are so cool to me, and just like it's hard to kind of pick one. Being honestly in a way, like I'm thinking reality. Okay, so
yeah,
because obviously superheroes right now, if I had like super strength, my ass is gonna get chased by the government. So I would just want to be extremely smart, where I could learn something like I wish I could power 100% of my brain. That would be my superpower. If I could just access 100% of my brain, that would be cool, because I wouldn't get chased by the government.
Well, I hope you definitely don't. All right, next question here is, what is the biggest lesson you've learned being a teacher?
That everybody learns at their own pace.
I like that. I mean, like you said, your experience of being a teacher when it comes to personal training and then coming into the dance world, I think, like you said, you've had that experience. So, I mean, it kind of just worked in itself. It wasn't kind of a new acclimation period. I mean,
absolutely.
And I appreciate what you said earlier about, we love our dance world, but at the same time, it's a business. So knowing how to market yourself is definitely key. And now
Sorry, just real quick. My statement, because one thing, sometimes as teachers, we think, hey, if I learned it like this, so why are you not learning it like this? You know what I mean? So yeah, I think everybody has their own way, their own journey, their own pace. You know what I'm saying? Some words click better than others, and some methods click better than others, etc.
Absolutely. And now it brings us to our last question. And this question is more of a 3-part question. A part of our segment now we call word association. So I'm going to give you 3 words, and I need you to tell me the first thing that pops in your mind when you see these words. So the first word is mentor.
Josh Carter. One of my newest mentors that I brought into my life.
Love it. All right. Next question. Next one is Congress.
CSBF, my favorite Congress in Chicago.
Yes. And the last one, and many people just goes really introspective with this one, practice.
Life.
And it definitely did not fail me. I love that answer. And honestly, Jay, thank you for doing this segment.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I love doing this at the end. It gets me and the audience to know you a little bit better. But I think also Eddie here definitely knows you a lot more than most.
He does.
And now it helps us transition into the end of our talk tonight. And as I've told you as well, me having you here tonight, it's another chance of allowing another artist that really has contributed so much to their community to come and share their story. Because for too long, in the industry, whether it's the acting industry, music, dance, there's always someone new the next day. There's always a new artist, a new dancer. And a lot of times the artists we know or have known, their stories are not out. And allowing them to share their stories rather than someone else telling it for them, that's my focus. Because again, your story matters, your experience matters, your music matters, your ideas matter. And, and again, I really appreciate that we can have you on tonight.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate you giving me the space to share.
Absolutely. I mean, definitely big shout out to Ed, saying great job.
Huge shout out to Ed.
Absolutely.
Eduardo.
Yes, man. Talking with him as well, just seeing how humble he is. That's the type of artist I love, because we understand in this industry, I mean, you really got to have that competitive edge and nature that sometimes can rub people off the wrong way. But meeting artists like yourself, like Eduardo and others that I've met on the same platform, definitely signs and tells me that, hey, our dance world, our world of arts is definitely in good hands. And at least before we go, I'd love to know if you had any last few words for myself in the audience, and also contact info on how people can reach you and see what you're up to.
Absolutely. Chase your curiosity. That's number one. We don't just wake up one day and go, this is what I'm going to do with my life and be 100% correct. Just chase your curiosity. If you want to do something, just do it. If you're not good at it, it's okay. Fail forward, keep failing. Failing is I tell people all the time, when you hit failure, it's just life nudging you towards the right direction. You know what I mean? So, fail forward, focus forward. Your journey is your journey. Don't compare yourself to nobody else's journey. Learn and just keep moving forward and just be happy. If something doesn't make you happy, pivot. That's simple.
Man, and then also at least info on how people can reach you.
Yes. Instagram at Salez, JSALEZ. TikTok, Twitter at it's Salez. And then Facebook, it's Salez. And that's where you can reach me. Also on YouTube, I got my own channel. I'm gonna be posting more on there. So go subscribe, go check it out. We got some dope. Me and Eddie got some dope visuals coming out this year. So I can't wait for y'all to see it, for y'all to enjoy them and vibe out with us. So.
Absolutely. I mean, again, like I said, the podcast platform here fully supports your work, and definitely can't wait to see you have it in the future. I want to thank everyone that's tuned in tonight, that will be tuning in the future. This is episode 122 of the live discussions.
122.
Yes, of the live discussions with Diamond Podcast. I'm Diamond here with the one and only
Salez.
Yes, everyone. And thank you again for tuning in. Thank you for the comments and the feedback. Tune in tomorrow with our episode of Monique Richard. So everyone, thank you. Have a great night. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon.